You're scrolling, half paying attention, and then a garbage truck fills the screen. It lowers a dumpster. It crushes a pile of trash bags flat, and you don't scroll away. You watch the whole thing, waiting for the compactor to finish, feeling something settle in your chest when it does. You don't even like garbage. But the real answer for why you just watched 40 seconds of trash getting crushed is far stranger than simple boredom. Your brain wasn't watching garbage. It was chasing a feeling it evolved to need. Here's the first strange fact. You already have a name for this feeling, even if you've never studied it. You call it oddly satisfying. Millions of people actively search that exact phrase, and video platforms have entire categories built around it. Soap getting cut, sand getting pressed into molds, pressure washers stripping grime off a driveway, and yes, garbage getting compacted into a neat, dense block. None of these things matter to your survival. None of them are useful to you in any practical sense. And yet the pull to watch is real enough that entire channels exist purely to produce it. So why does a pile of trash getting crushed flat feel good to watch? Start with a psychologist named Bluma Zeigarnik, working in the 1920s. She noticed something odd about waiters in a Vienna café. They could perfectly recall complicated unpaid orders in progress. But the moment an order was paid and closed out, the memory vanished almost instantly. Zeigarnik ran this observation into a real experiment, giving people a series of small tasks and interrupting them partway through roughly half of them. The interrupted tasks were remembered far better than the completed ones. She'd found what's now called the Zeigarnik effect. An unfinished task creates a kind of mental tension that your brain holds onto until it gets resolved. A messy pile of trash bags is, in a very real sense, an unfinished task sitting right in front of your eyes. Bulging bags, uneven edges, chaotic shapes, all of it visually unresolved. When the compactor presses down and flattens it into one dense, uniform block, your brain gets the resolution it was quietly holding open. You didn't do any of the work. You just watched the tension close. That's the same mechanism running at a smaller scale every time you watch a messy desk get organized or a cracked sidewalk get pressure washed clean. Visual chaos becomes visual order, and your brain treats that shift as a small, real reward, whether or not you had any stake in the outcome. But completion alone doesn't fully explain it, because plenty of completed, tidy things are boring to watch. There's a second ingredient, and it comes from a very different corner of psychology: disgust. Psychologist Paul Rozin has spent much of his career studying disgust, and one of his most interesting findings involves something he calls benign masochism. Humans, it turns out, actively seek out experiences that would normally register as unpleasant, painful, or aversive, but only when the brain is confident it's safe. Eating extremely spicy food, watching horror movies, riding roller coasters, poking at a bruise just to feel it. Rosin's research suggests the appeal isn't despite the discomfort, it's partly because of it. Your brain gets to experience the thrill of danger or disgust while a separate part of your brain keeps insisting, quietly and correctly, that you're actually fine. Garbage sits right in that zone. It's mildly repulsive. Rotting food, wet trash bags, the vague implication of smell you can't actually experience through a screen, all of it should trigger some low hum of disgust. Instead, watching it get contained, crushed, and hauled away from a safe distance behind a phone screen gives you Rosin's benign masochism almost perfectly, the charge of something gross, with none of the actual risk. You get to feel a flicker of your ancient disgust response fire and then immediately watch it get resolved and swept away, which layers a second wave of the Zeigarnik effect's completion reward directly on top of it. Two separate reward systems, both closing at once. There's a third piece worth knowing, because it explains why this particular category of content feels almost physically pleasant, rather than just mentally interesting. In 2015, researchers Emma Barratt and Nick Davis published one of the first formal academic studies on ASMR, the tingling, calming sensation some people report from specific sounds and visuals, close-up whispering, repetitive tapping, slow, deliberate movements. Their survey of over 400 ASMR viewers found consistent reports of relaxation and reduced stress during and after watching triggering content. Oddly satisfying videos overlap heavily with ASMR content for a simple reason. Crisp, repetitive, close-up sounds, the hiss of a hydraulic compactor, the crunch of bags folding under pressure. hit many of the same auditory triggers ASMR researchers have been cataloging. You're not just watching a problem get solved, you're hearing it get solved. In a frequency range, your nervous system seems specifically primed to find calming, so you've got 3 separate systems firing in sequence, almost every time you watch one of these videos. Zeigarnik's unfinished task tension gets resolved by visual order. Rozin's benign masochism lets you flirt with disgust from total safety. And the ASMR adjacent soundscape adds a physical layer of calm on top of both. None of that is an accident of modern content algorithms discovering a trick. It's your brain running 3 very old systems that evolved for completely different reasons, all lighting up at once because a garbage truck happened to hit every one of them simultaneously. Here's the twist that should genuinely surprise you. None of these 3 systems evolved to give you entertainment. They evolved to keep you alive. The disgust response Rozin studies didn't appear so humans could enjoy horror movies. It appeared so your ancestors would instinctively avoid rotting meat, contaminated water, and disease-carrying waste, the exact things that could kill a person with no modern medicine to fall back on. The completion drive Zeigarnik documented didn't evolve so you could enjoy watching a driveway get power washed. It evolved because an unfinished task, a half-built shelter, an unchecked trap line, an unresolved threat, was genuinely dangerous to leave hanging. So your brain learned to keep nagging you until the loop closed. Even the physical calm associated with ASMR-style stimuli likely traces back to grooming behavior in social primates. The same slow, repetitive, close contact sensations that signal safety and trust within a group. You are watching a garbage truck compact a dumpster, and underneath that, your brain is running the exact same software your ancestors used to avoid disease, finish urgent tasks, and confirm they were safe among their group. The content is new. The wiring is not. This is where it gets personal. You didn't choose to find garbage trucks satisfying any more than you chose to flinch at a spider or salivate at the smell of food. Modern video platforms didn't invent these reward circuits. They just got extremely good, almost accidentally at first, at finding footage that triggers all 3 at once. Every time an algorithm serves you a pressure washing video or a trash compacting clip and you watch the whole thing without meaning to, you're not being weak-willed or easily distracted. You're responding to a stimulus that happens to hit disgust safety, task completion, and sensory calm circuitry simultaneously, which is a genuinely rare combination for any single piece of content to pull off by accident. Knowing this changes what that 40 seconds actually is. It's not proof that short-form video has broken your attention span. It's proof that your attention span works exactly the way it was built to, responding to old, reliable signals of safety and resolution, just aimed at a garbage truck instead of a hazard on the savannah. The tension you feel watching a messy pile of trash bags and the release you feel when the compactor finishes is the same basic loop your ancestors ran every single day, just stripped of the danger and repackaged as 40 seconds of scrollable video. So, the next time you catch yourself watching a full clip of a dumpster getting crushed and wondering why you didn't scroll past it, you can stop wondering. You're scrolling, half paying attention, and then a garbage truck fills the screen, and every part of you that evolved to notice mess, distrust decay, and crave a finished task locks onto it at once. You're not watching trash. You're watching your own ancient brain get exactly what it's been asking for since long before there were screens to ask it on.